Got a new plugin today I want to show you from my friends with Kiive Audio. This is the KStrip, so let's take a look at this. Hey, before we get into this, YouTube changed some stuff with their videos. They've got some new features, and there's like some weird dynamic range thing in here. You might want to go down and turn that off because I think we're going to play with some compression today, and I don't know what that stuff is going to do to the audio in the video. I mean, honestly, you should probably just go demo this for yourself, but if you want to see why maybe you should go and demo it, I'll show you some stuff today. So the KStrip plugin, it's a channel strip, and the kind of cool thing about this is it has some different, I don't know if I would call them emulations. There are different models in here that are inspired by classic consoles, basically. So, you know, right here off the top in this harmonics section, you can just see there's an N, an A, and an S. So Neve, API, SSL, basically. Those are the flavors that have inspired what's going on in here. And there are some things in this channel strip that I really appreciate, and I want to encourage other developers to follow some of the approach that they're taking in this, but let's wait to get into that. Let's just make some noise with this, and let me dial in some sound. So I've got a snare drum here. In fact, let's bypass this to begin with. I've just got a loop of a single hit, so we'll just work on one hit. So that's just our raw snare drum right there, and making sure I got everything turned off. There's no compression, no parallel compression. We are just listening to the snare drum. So I'll play this a little bit and then turn this on. Right off the bat, not sure how this is coming across on YouTube, but I am definitely hearing some saturation in on this. This is definitely adding some crunch right out of the gate to things. One thing about these modules, they are not clean modules. I mean, they are modeling, well, I don't know if they specifically modeled, but the colors here are inspired by these classic consoles. So these are not clean kind of emulations, and why would you want them to be if you're using an emulation? I mean, really, to me, this makes sense. Let's start. Let's EQ the snare drum. So I'm starting on the N module just because that was what was the default. So let's see what this will do. Let me dial the output back a little bit to kind of compensate because I'm making this louder. I like that better. Let's see what this compressor will do. You know what would really help here? Let me get this gate. There's a cool gate in here. They've got this nice little display so you can kind of really get your threshold right. So just right out the gate, I like the EQ on this. I like what this sort of end model EQ is doing. The compressor, I usually really like the kind of Neve style compressors. One of my favorite compressor plugins of the last year was the Audioscape MK609 that Kiive did. I love that thing. So normally I do like the Neve style compression. On this drum, I'm not sure that this is the way to go. And I kind of wish that this attack had a little more play between fast and slow, but that's okay. It's definitely still a decent compressor, just not sure that what I'm doing is what this snare drum is really going to want or need. And that's okay. We've got some different flavors in here. Maybe let's try this API, see what happens. See that release there, I feel like it holds longer, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. Now, I'm not looking to have it that long, but I just like that I can do that. I'm just losing too much bottom with it. Like I'm losing the meat of the drum from the compression, which is something that compression has a tendency to do to low frequencies. I could jack this up a little more if I really wanted to kind of compensate for that, but we don't need to do that just yet. Let's wait. SSL one, let's just see. I kind of like this one better. It is eating some of the body of it, as I would expect, but there's something about the shape of this that I like better. And I want to point something out, which is one of the things I really like about what they've done with this channel strip. On a sort of traditional SSL channel strip compressor, you don't have a range of attack on it. You just have a fast and a slow. It's the same thing with a lot of the old Neve EQs where you have these kind of fixed frequency points. And on this, we have these ranges of things. If I go over to like the API style, on a traditional API like a 550A or B, the gain knob is in 2 dB increments, which has always driven me nuts. And it's why I never liked using API style EQs. I just always feel like the value that I want is somewhere in between 1 and 2 dB. And I can never get it because there's just such a big jump. I mean, if it was 1 dB increments, to me, it'd be more useful, but 2 dB increments for me, I don't know, it just never works for me. I know it works for other people because I know guys who love those EQs, but for me, it has never worked for my ear. But the thing that's cool in this channel strip is I've got a range of gain. And This is the thing that I've never understood. We're modeling all of this analog stuff, and a lot of those old analog pieces that had these kind of fixed values, a lot of that was because sometimes the signal paths that were happening, they were discrete components that you were changing. We don't have that in digital. Like, there's no limitations. And I've never understood like why nobody puts more of a range in things. And it's why I've honestly been pretty frustrated with a lot of the kind of analog emulation plugins over the last few years. Whereas with this KStrip, they've stripped those limitations out on things. You can actually EQ things, and there's a range of values that you can dial in. You know, on the compressor here, I've got a range of attack that I can do on that SSL style channel compressor. And that's what I've been looking for. Please, more of this kind of stuff. This is so great to be able to do that. In fact, here, let's see, what does this API style EQ do on the snare drum? I like that. What does that compare to what I did with the Kiive? I kind of like what the API is doing. But you know, let's put this in a little loop of this and put it in the track and see what it's doing. I'm gonna add some effects to this, but we'll leave all the parallel compression kind of stuff off, and this will just be the snare. In the mix, I like that Kiive better. Let's look at this compressor, though. Boy, that's tough. I don't know that I mean, they're all kind of working now. I think I kind of like the Kiive in context, which is interesting because I didn't care for it as much earlier. But this is why doing stuff in context can be so important. In fact, let's play around with this pre. I haven't heard this. I don't know what this is going to do, but I'm going to just kind of bang on the saturation a little bit more. think that one's the one I like. The other ones, I don't know. You might think I'm crazy. You might be hearing something going, the other ones were better. But that's what's nice in this. You've got, basically a way to kind of make your own classic console strip of your dreams on things. The one thing I wish this had, and one thing I should mention is I have a pre-release version of this plugin right now. I'm not sure exactly what is going to change between this one and the actual release. There are some things like I wish as I change through the different harmonic modes, I wish the drive knob, like the value that I set, I wish it carried over in the version I have right now. It does not. But at the same time, this kind of works a little bit more along the lines of the way I work, where I just like to dial things into where I kind of like them. And then I will switch back and forth between things to see which version I created kind of works better for the song. Because when I have different styles of things, I attack things different. So I don't know where they're ultimately going to go with this. Right now with the EQs, as you go through the different versions, the values don't stick with it. But, to me, it's not a deal breaker. It's just, it's another way of doing things. KStrip from Kiive Audio. If you're into kind of these sort of classic emulations, go check it out. I think they've done a good job. I think this thing sounds good. I mean, I like what I'm getting from it for sure. The main thing on this right now as to whether or not I really start using this more, it's really going to come down to how they implement what we call the page tables for Yukon, which is basically how do these knobs work with my control surfaces. I don't like EQing knobs like this with a mouse. I like having them right here on my channel strip of my control surface, and I like turning knobs there. And if the EQ from this ends up on there, I mean, yeah, I'm totally going to use this a ton because I like it. And I've never done a lot of stuff with the API before. Go check it out. I think this is a cool one. This is fun. I like using channel strips. Some of that is probably because I come from the world of analog before getting into digital. So this is sort of like home in a lot of ways. But I like this thing. This is fun. So go check it out. Give it a demo. Let me know, what's your favorite channel strip? Have you played with this one? Have you tried it? What'd you think? What do you like? What do you dislike? I mean, the cool thing to me about Kiive is they do make changes to things and update stuff. So, check it out and let them know. What do you like? I mean, I've really been digging some of the stuff they've been doing lately. So, KStrip from Kiive Audio. There you go. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.